Fabric is a resource which is created, worn, used and discarded in vast volumes every day. Fabrications includes sculpture, textiles, photography, film, painting and prints from the Wollongong Art Gallery collection and is supported by loans from Artbank, the Art Gallery of New South Wales and the Museum of Contemporary Art.
Hi, I'm Lesley Goldacre. I'm an artist photographer. Been working in the Illawarra for 35 years now, and this work behind me is from an installation which I produced in 1990. It represents an inquiry into the meaning of the objects and the family photographs that are privately curated by women usually. This is part of a sequence of clothing that my mother gave to me, telling me that I couldn't cut it up and I couldn't give it away. And so I realised that it had meaning, and it seemed to be associated with her identity as a woman. She was someone who married in her mid-20s. They both went off to America for him to do his PhD. Life was fabulous. So these clothes represent the clothes that she actually made when she was there in America, before kids. And she also made this suit for my dad. My dad died when he was only 34, left her with 3 kids, and that myth of the life that she thought she was going to have was shattered. These are a representation of that time when she had meaning, when she had identity, when she was participating in the cultural norms or the cultural myth. The way that these clothes are represented is to try and talk about that role that women thought they were going to have. There's a sense of her body shape in them. I wanted to float them and animate them in a way to seduce people into the clothing and into the life that was lost. I'm hoping by doing this work that we can be, I guess, empowered to create a truer sense of our own identity. I hope people enjoy the work when they see it and understand that about it.
I'm Michele Elliot. I'm a local Wollongong artist, and standing here in front of my work, which is called Whitewash. It's made up of individual items of clothing that have all been hand stitched together, and my intention was to use those clothes to evoke a sense of the body, but in order to abstract them in some ways so that people had to work a little bit harder to discover that they are actually clothes. A layer of white fabric ink rolled over the top because I wanted to create a sense of uniformity, and that when you look from a distance, the material is a little bit nondescript, a little bit ambiguous. So as you approach them, you start to see the patterns and the colours that sit underneath that layer of white. Most of the clothes were gifted to me from friends and family, and I wanted to have each piece very separated from the others, so that there was a sense of that particular person's journey contained within one piece, and to have them kind of sitting in a way on the wall that they evoked a sense of movement or a sense of a journey, so moving through time and space. It was made in response to the ongoing issues that asylum seekers and refugees have been facing, not just within Australia but across the globe. I just invite you to come and enjoy the work and get up close and have a look at it, because you'll find details of of the clothes. There's buttons and cuffs and collars. So really there's a sense of the human very much in this work. Thank you.
I'm Anita Johnson-Larkin, and this is my artwork called Conduit. Part of my art practice involves the material felt, and it's handmade from wool fibre directly from the sheep. Felt is a really interesting material. It stretches back to Neolithic time, and it's been used throughout history for insulating sound and insulating warmth. This work actually connects two people together, which connects their heads and their hearts and their feet. Thinking about how a lot of our communication in contemporary times is actually secondary. We communicate through sending emails or through texting each other. And I wanted to make a device which actually physically and sensually connected two people to each other. In wearing the device, it actually gets quite warm, so the top of your head heats up, and then the heart and the feet, and forms one entire circulatory system between the two people. This is quite an interesting work, thinking about the disjunction and longing that we all are experiencing during this restriction and COVID experience. And I hope that this work has some personal meaning for you.
My name's Penny Harris. I'm a sculptor and a bronze caster, and the work that's been included in the Fabrications exhibition is titled Petrified Cloth. It's part of a larger 2016 exhibition called Writing Poetry to the Miners of El Cobre. So I tend to work more with historical research but also poetic narratives. Work with found materials and with cast lace. Because metal is so hard and rigid, I try and make it look as light and fragile and fluid as I possibly can. And you can see the colour on the surfaces, and that is mostly oxides. I work with a spray bottle and heat gun, and I spray the colour on, overlay it and build that colour up. The copper wire, I introduced that because I also like the notion that it's somewhat of a drawing, and I like the fact that it creates this sort of fluidity and lightness, and it also creates another layer of shadow. Thank you for coming and seeing the show. I hope you enjoy it, and it's nice that you've learnt a little bit more about the processes that I use. It's really lovely to see, for me even, to see my work sitting next to other work and in a different context and in a different relationship.